أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is your brother Anwar Ali, and this is my first vlog in my kitchen. It's the only place in my flat that has any good lighting, especially in this time of the year, November. It's not gonna get much lighting here in the UK. So I haven't actually decided what I want to talk about. Whether it's going to be, I don't know, about politics or just randomly talking about things. I have other channels, video game channels and channels talking about other topics. But here I just, sometimes you just want to offload the stuff that's on your mind. Perhaps you want others to know about it, but you don't want to directly say it to people, if that makes any sense. Anyways, what's on my mind? What is on my mind? Why is it so hard to find a decent job? It's 2016. You can have a degree, you can have a world of experience. Why is it that the numbers never add up? For instance, we know 1 + 1 = 2, but if you have the degree, you have some experience, okay, why is it that it's so hard for people to find work? Now, I know obviously there's not enough, perhaps in certain countries, there's not enough jobs for the amount of people that want to take on those jobs. So some people have to go off and do things they perhaps don't want to do. Like say for example, you graduated with a degree in law, but there's only a job in Tesco's, which is a supermarket chain here in the UK. So you might have to work at Tesco's because you have to pay the rent. But then pay the rent, hold that thought for a second. It's so expensive to pay rent to find a flat or home in London, that even though you're forced as a lawyer, hypothetically, to go and work at Tesco's, you can't pay rent on what they pay you. Do you see what I'm trying to say to you? So I would like to say that working at Tesco's, for example, you would be living from paycheck to paycheck, but in reality, not even the paycheck at Tesco's can pay the rent in London. So what does one do? So it becomes problematic in this sort of world where I don't know, I don't want to call it dog eat dog world. It just doesn't add up. The maths doesn't add up, which makes no sense. It's like, let's simplify it. Say for instance, you go to a kindergarten or nursery here in the UK, as we would call it, and you gave some children some shapes, and they have to put these shapes like a square, a triangle, and a circle, and you have to put them in their respected shapes. Like you have a square block and you have to put it in a square hole, right? It makes sense, right? Because you have a square block and there's a square hole, you just put it in. That makes complete sense. But what happens when you have a society that is forced to work for wages that can't even pay for a home for them to live? Do you see where I'm getting at? So if the prices of certain things are set at a certain rate and the wages are set at a certain rate, but they don't add up, they just don't match, it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, that's what's on my mind. And that's not just in the UK. Obviously, if you think about developing countries, I don't like to use the word third world. It just sounds so insulting. But let's say developing, because they're developing. So in developing countries, I'm quite confident there's just so much corruption. But here in the West, countries that are already developed, and you'd expect there to be some sort of harmony, some sort of consistency, like say for example, we know a lawyer someone who graduates as a lawyer and someone who works as a painter, and respects to both of them, you know, for their trades, you live within your means, right? Fair enough, I accept it, no problem. But how do you live within your means when your means won't even allow you to rent a flat? It forces you to become, sadly, it forces many people to do things which is outside of the law. Now, when I say outside of the law, I'm not saying robbing a bank or nothing, anything like that. Things like where people have to now, like in this country, if you are given a flat by the council, the council is the government, you know, like say for example, you're a single mom and you have children obviously, and you have no money to look after yourself. The government will give you a home, okay? Some people are exploiting that, and they are renting off rooms within those homes that they've been given for free. Now you're thinking, oh my God, that's so bad. As a matter of fact, it's not so bad, because they're renting the rooms for prices that people can actually afford. Had they gone off to do it in the legal means, they wouldn't be able to. It's impossible. As a matter of fact, there are so many professional adults today that I know about, and I'm quite confident many that I don't know about, that live at their parents' home, not because they choose to. They would love to be independent, but it's hard to be independent in a world where there's inconsistencies. So yeah, that's my rant for today. I wish we can have a world where there's harmony, consistencies, and you know, you get paid and you know, you're like, okay, I see, all right, I can't rent this overly expensive penthouse, but there are stuff that I can rent, you know, but it doesn't exist in London. So what it does do, and I sometimes think it's sort of a conspiracy, but that's a story for another time, that it forces the poor, I'm going to use the word poor, out of the capital cities and into the sort of less affluent areas, out of the big cities and into towns and stuff like that. And it forces really rich people to come, you know, and to move here. And what happens is, I've noticed with a lot of the new homes that are built here in London, because I live in London, they're targeted to international people. Now, I'm not going to be that person bashing the drums about immigration and stuff like that. Every country is going to have immigrations, you know. Like most of the people who live in this country are immigrants. They just don't realize it. But what I'm saying is that it would be really cool if the people who do actually live here have a way to actually prosper. You know, not everyone is going to become a millionaire or a thousandaire, as I would like to put it, you know, but at least if you can live, you know, without being humiliated as an adult who actually wants to do something instead of sitting on their ass, that would be great. But hey, this is just the way the world is, and this is Anwar Ali, and this is my rant. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please do like and subscribe, comment, tell me about your situation. Let me know if you agree with what I'm saying or not. If not, it's all good, man. I mean, leave a comment and I'll say hello. Until next time, peace.